to the You Can Do Both podcast. I'm Court.
This is Ashley coming at you live from Boston.
And this is our first episode of 2023.
Oh, yes it is. Welcome into the new year. We're so happy to have you here.
We're not quite there yet, but
no,
excited
speaking
for
into
that.
the future. We're just coming off of Christmas. So my Christmas festivities they have not quite come to a close. Joe and I are leaving for New York right after this, but had such a good Christmas spending it in New Hampshire with my family. We did our little cocktail night, which I think is worth talking about.
Absolutely.
But before we do that, how was your Christmas, Court?
It was so good. It was my first Christmas in Boston or in New England at all. So it was definitely colder than all of my past experiences, but it was really nice because I got to spend time with family that I also have in this area that I've never gotten to celebrate with before. So it was kind of crazy just running around. And I guess that's what happens when you get older and you end up like being with someone who has family in the same area. You just kind of bop around. Like yours a little bit more spread out, but I went to like 3 or 4 houses in a matter of like 1.5 days.
That's so fun though, because you get to spend like the most cherished time of the year, like with so many different loved ones.
Yes, exactly. And I got to spend time with my Grammy, who I never get to spend the holidays with, and just you never know as people get older. So it was just really special for my mom to see, even just me being here because she can't be.
Yeah,
so, yeah,
that's cute.
It was amazing. And then we had a really nice night to kick off our Christmas festivities last week.
Yeah, it was the night before Christmas Eve. Honestly, so fun.
So much fun. So wholesome.
So wholesome. I honestly want to do this like once a month.
Yeah.
Like it's so fun. It's such a cute little date night idea for your girlfriends, for a double date, even like with your significant other.
Yeah.
So what we did was Matt and Court came over and we had little apps and we were planning to do a pizza night. That was tragic a little bit, but your pizza was good,
we were focused more on the actual drinks than we were pizza, which is okay.
Yeah. So each person is responsible for coming up with, this was the theme, was a holiday cocktail. And so Matt started off with an espresso martini.
Yep.
With like a peppermint rim.
Yep.
Very good. And then Joe came in with a mistletoe margarita.
Yep.
It was like a little coconut marg. It was frozen. Very cute. Very festive.
Cute. It wasn't very alcoholic, but
no, honestly,
I don't think there was alcohol in that one, but it's all right. You tried.
And then, Court, what was yours?
Mine was it was a holiday gin sour, but it was just a gin sour. There wasn't really much holiday to it, but I wanted to do something different. Like I had the egg whites. I wanted to do something
about that.
more.
I was like, where was the egg whites?
It was mixed into it.
Oh, okay.
So when you shake it, I didn't put enough egg whites in because I was a little bit skeeved out by the egg white part of it. So I didn't go overboard, but basically you just put it in the mixer, and as you shake it, that's what creates, when you pour it into the glass, it creates this like white foam on top.
For some reason I thought that was something you had to shake individually and then you like pour it on top.
You know, maybe I did it wrong.
Okay.
But no, I watched a video and maybe the person did it wrong. I don't know. But that could very well be true. Maybe we'll try that next time.
Yeah. But yours was probably the most like restaurant tasting and looking.
Yeah,
cocktail.
bar worthy. Yes. Like I would pay money for that cocktail.
I would be very happy if I got that when I was out.
Yes.
Very good.
And then yours?
And then, I'm a little upset I went last because everyone was like almost ready for bed, a little too drunk. Everyone was like, yeah, this is good. But I had a like gin pomegranate drink fizz. But I got like the rosemary and I smoked it and I put it on top. It looked very Christmassy.
Yes.
But yeah, so we like all kept score and we ranked each cocktail, one based on presentation. And then we did, what was the next one? Taste.
And then holiday
cheer.
It was so fun.
It was just so fun. It's like a silly little activity.
Yeah. And Matt won by default. I will continue to say that.
Because he went first.
So like people didn't really know the rankings. It was a delicious cocktail. And I guess it's not all about the competition, but.
But if we're being
honest, maybe Ashley and I could have been up there a little higher.
I think so too.
But
Joe got the score he deserved.
Yeah. No, but pro tip, have a cocktail competition with some loved ones and don't try to make pizzas at the same time because there's too much going on.
Too much going on.
Order
food.
Order food.
That's what we should have done.
Yeah. No, but it's funny because we went into that night thinking we were making pizzas, making drinks, and recording a podcast episode with our boyfriends.
Yeah.
LOL.
That was a lot.
Yeah, that was a little too much. And gift giving because it was for the holidays.
Guys, Courtney literally got me the best gifts. Like, I was blown out of the water. So you guys probably saw the little You Can Do Both ornament. My parents loved it, by the way. God, yeah. It was so cute.
Good.
She got one for me, one for my parents. And then for anyone that listens to this podcast, maybe, because we're just so similar.
Yeah.
You listen to Kenzie Elizabeth's I Love You So Much podcast. She's my favorite podcaster. And Court has known this. Our dream, Kenzie babe, come on the pod, is to have her on. She's with Dear Media. Like, literally everything I want to be. I just really resonate with her. And she has this brand called, like, Breadwinning Housewife. So she has, like, merch. It's like a silly little joke. But Court got me this little tumbler wine mug. It is so cute. It says Breadwinning Housewife. It's going to be so perfect for the boat this summer. And then this apron, which you definitely all saw. Kenzie reposted my personal and the You Can Do Both story on her Insta.
Very exciting.
I got like 15 followers from that.
What?
Yeah, my personal. I mean, I can only assume that's what it's from.
Any on You Can Do Both?
I don't think so.
We have been getting more followers recently.
Yeah, we have. So thanks for everyone that sent that episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was so cute. I wore that apron the whole night, and I'm going to wear it every single time I cook in the kitchen.
Well, I only really know her because of you, and I still don't really listen to her podcast. Definitely not as much as you. But when I saw the merch, it was screaming You Could Do Both. Because, I mean, I don't know if this is the reasoning behind it, so you can tell me if I'm, like, speaking out of my butt. But breadwinning housewife. You can be a housewife, but you can also, like, be the earner and be successful.
That's
and
exactly what
like
it is.
that. I was like, we need something like that.
Yeah,
that is merch worthy at some point.
100%. I wish I came up with it first.
Yeah,
but this is why Kenzie would be such a perfect guest to have on the podcast, because she does it all.
It's true. We're manifesting it for
Dualities that
2023.
coexist, baby.
Exactly. But yeah, so that was a really fun night. I'm
Such
happy
a
you
fun
enjoyed
night.
your gifts.
Yes,
I'm
me
wearing
too.
one of Ashley's gifts to me now.
Yes, I got her the Outdoor Voices sweatshirt.
Yes, I've been living in it, so thank you.
You're welcome. All right, with that, Boston Rec of the week. Court, you go first.
Okay, my Boston Rec is, while it's still feeling festive, or I'm sure this is coming out in January, but I'm sure it will kind of exist a little bit longer.
It goes through the spring.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so right now in Back Bay / like Boston, what park is that called?
Boston Common?
Oh yeah, sorry.
The main park in Boston.
I literally what almost came out of my mouth was Boston Central Park. Like, that's clearly not it. So anyway, if you go outside like at nighttime, and nighttime starts at 4 p.m. unfortunately nowadays, then get bundled up, go by yourself, have a hot girl walk, go with your best friend, go with a significant other, take a thermos with some hot coffee or hot cocoa, and basically just like walk around and look at all the lights on the trees. It's just a really beautiful, cold activity for you to do, but it's a little wholesome moment. So not a restaurant or a cafe this week, but a little free activity.
No, that's one of Joe and I haven't done it this year, but when he lived on Newbury, we used to do that every night. I was there. We would roll up a little J and just go smoke and walk the 2 or 3 blocks down through Commonwealth, and like, it's so pretty,
so fun.
It's just very wholesome. I feel like some of our best conversations came out of that too, because it's too cold to have your phone out.
Yeah,
you literally are just bundled up, like walking with the person you want to be there with. So I really like that rec. And then mine is Trident Bookstore. It's on Newbury. The only reason I'm saying it is because I went in and got the best stocking stuffers, like funny little ornaments. They have so many games. I got a new book. I got 2 books. So I got 2 of the same books. It starts with us, the new Colleen Hoover book. I got it for my mom and I got it for Joe's mom. But they have like sections of most popular books and like bestsellers, but like relevant things to us. Like, if we wanted to go in, I just feel like it's the perfect store for us to go find a book. And of course they're all overpriced like every other bookstore, but like cute little trinkets, notes and notebooks and agendas and things like that. It's just a fun little store. And there's also a cafe there.
Yeah, I've eaten breakfast there before, and it's like your basic diner, but really good.
Yeah, and then they also host a trivia night every Friday night. Joe and I went before, and it's like silly and fun, but if you're not in the mood to like do something, like go out, it's a fun little trivia night.
Yeah.
So it's cute. And you can order alcohol there too.
Oh, wow.
Most importantly.
They can do it all, can't they?
They can do both, baby.
Well, appreciate the Rex. Let's get into
today's topic. Okay, so today is going to be, if you guys remember, we're doing a Let's Talk Both episode. So today we're going to be talking about planners versus, we're going to call them flowers. But let me just quickly explain that. Our go with the flow people. So we're just kind of going to talk all things that and how they each play into each other. But I think this is a very relevant topic for right now, our first episode in the new year, because I think almost everyone can probably work on something in this area. And I think finding a balance between these two is what's going to set you up for success and be your happiest self in the new year.
Yeah. Yeah. And the way that we've structured these episodes in the past is we talk about, you know, what each of the two kind of extremes are. So planner versus go with the flow, some pros and cons of each of them. And then we'll talk about where we kind of identify, like what type of person are we, where do we fall in the middle. And then we talk about how we can do both or be more of one part in different parts of our lives, and then hopefully give you guys some takeaways to incorporate into your own lives on how to, you know, set yourself up.
Yeah, and this one's also kind of fun because while Court and I are very similar, this is probably one of our most coexisting,
our strongest differentiators, I'd say.
But also the reason we work so well together.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of excited about it.
Yeah.
And the other thing is this is also plays a big part in our relationships too.
Yep.
And it's like a very strong theme throughout us.
Totally. So let's start with the planner.
Okay. So if you are the planner and you're listening and you're like, hey, where do I fall on this? You're probably the ones that are getting the girls' trip out of the group chat.
Yes.
You're finding the Airbnbs. You're booking the reservations. You're finding the destination. You're the one that books the brunch on Sunday for all the girls and starts the group chat and say, hey, everyone, we're going to meet here. Yes. I think of like Camila doing her little Sunday brunch activities with the White Christmas she hosted. Like very like well thought out and put together.
Yeah. You're the person that's creating the Excel spreadsheet of who owes what or setting up that Splitwise and making sure that things actually happen and that little plans that people just throw out into the world like actually come to life.
Yes.
So we need you.
Yeah, 100%.
We need you.
I think I identify a little bit more with this one, but I've also been on like girls' trips. I think of Lauren Goodchild. Yeah. She is the ultimate person you want to take a vacation with.
Yeah.
She knows
creates
where
the entire
to go.
itinerary.
Like
multiple reservations.
I can just kick my feet up and I just accept the Venmo request. Like it's amazing.
Exactly.
Everybody needs like one really strong type A person in the friend group.
Yeah. And also like you can be type A and this planner person in one part of your life and not in the other. So like we both, I would say, can step up to that occasion in the travel piece if we're going with our significant others, or if I'm ever traveling with my family always looks to me to kind of take that leading role. They call me the cruise director.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I personally hate it because I feel like there's so much pressure on, like if people don't like where you got dinner, people don't like the activity, like it's all on you. And even like Matt and I are going to London tomorrow and we haven't booked the hotel yet for
Courtney
2 days from now.
Carlton.
Because him and I are both.
How has Matt not let this happen? I feel like he's a planner.
No, but he's not. Like he's not though. Him and I are like a recipe for disaster. But then, but because neither of us are planners, we don't get mad at each other and we just make it work. So
I'm terrified.
Well, I literally yesterday I did all the research and he's like, Court, just book it. And I'm like, well, I don't want to book it without you having looked at them first. Cause like I was on my iPad in the car and he was driving and I was just like, no, we'll do it later. I created the list of all the different options. I have my preferential ranking, but I want him to like confirm it. I can't make the decision by myself.
Decisive, Court. We're being decisive.
Yeah. Well, I know which one we're doing. I just don't want to be the one to have the final say. But anyhow,
oh my god. So planner, that's probably you. That's like that's if if you identify with any of the things we just said, you're probably the planner.
Yes.
Anywhere else that would like pop into?
Planner, like you are the lead in a group project. You are the person who's actually like in a professional setting. Like if you're doing a presentation, like you're making sure that everyone that you're presenting with has that role, or everyone knows exactly what they're doing and what part they have to play. And maybe you're the person that's making the final edits on the deck and making sure that everything is going according to plan and up to your standards. So like in that sense, I feel like I'm a planner in that sense, but I'm not in the travel sense. Like I am like hyper specific and anal about like how things get delivered in a workplace setting and how people communicate and like who's doing what.
Yeah. The London piece just made me think of, you're also probably not the type of person to procrastinate.
Yeah.
Like
yeah. But like I do both. It's so crazy. Like
everybody falls on there's no way you can literally live being so like one side of this.
Yes.
But I think you're probably also the person that has the routines, like loves the lists.
Yeah.
Like if you have a free day, you probably have some type of loose plans around exactly what you want to accomplish that day.
Exactly. Great overview.
Flowa?
A flower. A flower.
Courtney came up with that term, and I just feel like that's just so on brand.
We're like, okay, so planner and what's a word for go with the flow? Because it's not like type A versus type B. It's literally like a flower, a flowa.
A flowa.
So this is the type of person who is very okay with just showing up and not having a plan. They often tend to be very spontaneous people. They're very open to last minute activities or just going in knowing that there is not a plan. They don't know where they're eating for dinner tonight, but that's totally okay. They're not someone who typically gets like anxious around uncertainty. And you also need these type of people in a friend group, because going back to the travel example, if there's a cruise director or someone who's making sure that everyone knows what they're doing and like everyone has a part to play and they're the one that's leading the itinerary for the weekend, you can't have 5 other people who also feel and think that exact same way, because that's just going to be a recipe for disaster. And you need these more spontaneous flowers to be the hype women or men of the group. Yes. And just like getting everyone's spirits high and making sure that it's not like a tense situation when there is so much structure to what's going on.
Yes, I think the most important job of a flower in like a group setting is that they're just so down for anything. Yeah. So like they're not going to be like, oh, that restaurant wasn't that good. Like, oh, where are we going for dinner tonight? Here. Oh, I should have gone here. It's more of like, let's go. Like this is going to be so fun. Like making sure everyone's having a good time. They're also the type of friend that you can call up last minute and you just know they're down for anything.
They're going to say yes.
Like, hey, want to go to, you could say anything, fill in the blank. And they're like, yeah, absolutely. I'm down. I'm so in.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, the best type of people. It really like, I love that.
That reminds me when so a few months ago, I last minute realized that I had an opportunity to go to a mountain weekend in New York with some childhood friends. And my only kind of drawback was that it was like going to be like a 4-hour drive after work by myself. And I wanted Ashley to come with. And me knowing that she is such a planner, I was so terrified to ask you. And so I call her up and I was like, okay, so I have like a crazy ask. Like, I don't know how you're going to feel about it.
That's exactly how you phrased it.
But would you be open to like going to New York this weekend? And you literally were like, yes, that is exactly what I need. And I was so shook by how like excited and open you were to such a last minute plan, because we were leaving like 2 hours from then.
And that, I totally forgot about that actually, but that is exactly what I tried to focus on this year, is not having my schedule booked to a T, because I had so much fun that weekend. And what are the chances I have a full schedule free, you know, that full weekend? Yeah. And I was like, yes, absolutely. I have no plans. Why wouldn't I do that? Yes.
Yeah. That's the best. Yeah. But where were we with flower? So that's a pretty good overview. I feel like that's a good overview. And it's important to recognize that there's different areas of your life, obviously, where you lean more towards one end, planner versus flower, but also you can be more towards one or the other in different parts of your life. And like, that's important. Like, I don't foresee you being one way in everything, but also that there's pros and cons of each of them. So let's start with the planner.
Okay. Let's start with pros of a planner.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll do planner, pros, cons.
Yep.
Okay. Not me planning it out. Okay. Got it. Oh boy. Okay. So pros of a planner. If they're like in your friend group, like you probably like you feel very, you have a structure. So like there kind of takes the stress out of like, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Obviously. Again, we kind of already mentioned this, but like you're not a procrastinator. So I feel like in that sense, type A planners are very reliable. Like they say they're going to get something done and like they're going to do it.
Yeah.
And they're going to do it in a timely fashion.
Yes.
Let's see. Other pros.
They just actually are the doers. They're not the, they're not like
big on execution.
They're huge on execution. I'm sure they have a very like well thought out life. Like I think of like my best planner friend, and she just has her shit together. She has her job that she loves. She has a boyfriend that she lives with, like, and she lived with him pretty prematurely. She knows what her life is going to look like within the next 5 years. Like, she just has it set out for her, and like that's not necessarily for everyone, but yes, she has that sense of like security and also this level of like peace to her. Like, she's, in my mind, always has been like not my problem solver, but a problem solver that if I have some sort of issue and I go to her, I know I'm going to feel secure. I'm going to feel like she's working for me to get my life back on track, you know?
Also, because that makes me think, like, if you go to one of your planner type friends with a problem, like, you know they're gonna really think it out with
yes,
you.
logical.
Very logical.
Not like spontaneous, like using their emotions to drive decisions.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So I feel like there's security, productivity, just overall sense of self. I feel like because assuming like all of these components of their life are very well thought out and planned, like everything they do has a purpose and a reason behind it.
Yep.
Those are the pros.
Yes.
The cons.
You could
prone to anxiety a little bit if things get thrown off course.
And also making others feel anxious if they're not as planner as you are.
I think to the Kylie episode.
Yes.
When we were trying to record and we got to Cameron's apartment very last minute. What is Cameron? Is she a planner or a flower? Because she was so like, oh, let's go. No, it's right around the block. Let's go grab a lunch. And I'm like, girl, Kylie is here in 45 minutes. We need to set up. We need to eat lunch. Like, what is going on? Courtney and I get locked out of the apartment. I thought I was going to have a full-on anxiety attack. But through my anxiety, I was giving Courtney anxiety. Because I think if Courtney was there alone, she would have been like, oh, it's fine. Everything's going to figure it out. Like, this sucks.
No, but that's what, but you were like, okay, so Courtney, like, I was going to run to basically go get keys from Cameron, but I was only going to do that because you were so anxious about it.
Yes.
I knew that the door was going to open at some point. Like, I was okay with waiting there instead of, and like, just like letting it play out the way that it was going to, as opposed to trying to force an outcome.
I think my thing is I don't have the patience to wait and just see what happens. It's more of like, well,
you want to be in control.
Time. Like, I need to be doing everything I can to work towards a solution here. Yeah. I'm not just going to sit here, but like, I can't. It drives me insane.
My solution was just calling her until she saw the notification.
Right. Right.
And she did. And she did. And she did.
Yeah.
But yeah. So where were we?
Cons of a planner.
Yes. Okay. So you can create some high stress times if you're so not okay with things not going according to plan. And also I feel like I have some planner friends where I'm like, I maybe don't ask them to go to a random trip to New York an hour away or like an hour from that point, because I just assume that they're going to say no.
Yeah. So I think you can kind of find yourself being left out of some situations with people just assuming like, oh, okay, no, it's too spontaneous last minute for them.
Exactly. And another con is you might set yourself up for like disappointment to a certain extent.
Yeah.
It's like you create these expectations and you know exactly how you want your things to go and whatever. And if they don't, you might have a little bit more frustration and disappointment if things don't go according to the way that you want them to.
Yeah, I think even just like on your daily to-dos, if something rolls over and you're like super type A planner, it's like, oh my God, why didn't I get this done? And it's like a constant, you're just like in a loop circle, like chasing your to-do list.
Yeah, I also feel like planners can sometimes get so caught up in like the list or plan where it's like almost consuming, and it's like you're just not as present as you would want to be because you're thinking about what you have to do tomorrow, and you're thinking about what didn't get done yet today, or you're so hyper focused on the nitty gritty that you may lose sight of some things that are like right in front of you.
Yes, 100%. Pros of a flower. First thing that comes to mind is just you're spontaneous. You probably have a lot more spontaneous opportunities that come to you because you have the ability to say yes. You're also like the go-to person when your friends call and it's like, oh my God, let's go do it. We already talked about bringing the energy. Like you're probably like kind of the fun friend.
Yeah.
If you're more like go with the flow.
Totally.
What else?
Why do people love me?
Let's think about Courtney, everyone.
No. Yeah, I just think a lot of the times, like, I'm thinking back to the episode that we had with Sophia, which was titled like the Yes Woman. Just she gets random invites to Paris for a night because she's that person who's more susceptible to be down for anything. So you meet really cool people, probably you get different opportunities kind of like dealt to you. You're definitely someone who is probably just more carefree, less stress in your life because you're not hyper fixated on what needs to happen, and you don't have like a plan in mind, or you don't have a timetable for your life where like you're trying to meet these deadlines all the time and you're trying to make sure that things go according to plan.
I think it's a lot easier to live in the present moment. Honestly, kind of just all opposites of what we just said.
Yeah.
But like you're definitely living more presently and like enjoying the moment more because you're not so focused on the future.
Exactly.
Cons?
I'm putting my earring in. Hold on. My earlobe is about to rip in half.
Do you think you're gonna have to get it stitched up? Do you have like a large hole?
I have a large hole from sleeping in heavy earrings like when I was younger, and it just stretches over time.
You don't sleep in earrings now, do you?
No, not now.
Okay. I sleep in these ones, but they're like so flat.
Yeah.
That they work.
Anyhow, some cons. Maybe you're not as productive as a planner because you don't have that looming list that you need to complete before the day is done.
I also think some flowers I know have the tendency to daydream about like all these things, like here are my goals, I'll do this one day, I'll get to that. I hate my job, but like, you know, I'll figure it out later. And it's like they don't have the means to like really sit down and like plan out the steps on how to achieve those. So it's like, maybe you're more of a dreamer and like you have these ideas, but it's a lot more difficult to execute on them. Yeah.
I feel like because of that too, flowers often procrastinate. And like, for example, I have had bring my donations to a donation bin on my to-do list for the past 5 months now. And I think I've talked about it. I've talked about it. Yeah. But it's like, I'm like okay with like the bare minimum. Like I'm okay. I am someone who, if I'm starting a task, that's enough for me. So it's like, I took all my clothes to a consignment shop. Perfect. Yep. I did that. But I didn't bring what they didn't like or didn't take to a donation bin. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I often find that in work. I'm identifying as a flower now, so I'm hopefully these are resonating with other flowers. But like, I will start 7 tasks, and all of a sudden I look back and I'm like, so I literally wrote an email and I just didn't click the send button, or so lack of productivity, definitely a con.
The only other thing I can think of is like kind of similar, or I guess I kind of already said it, but like because you're not such a planner and like planning things out, I feel like you can fall into the same like cycle over and over again. Yeah,
definitely. Totally.
So that could be a reoccurring theme as well.
Us saying flow is making me think of progressive.
Makes me think of a period.
Yeah. Not, we We could have chose another word, but
I don't know. I like it.
no,
We're going to own it.
Me too.
So I think that ties up our pros and cons.
Yes.
Should we talk just briefly about how we fit into it? I guess we kind of already have.
Yeah.
But we kind of already said it. So I definitely identify more as a planner.
Yeah.
I'm a planner in my own life. I love my morning routine. I love my night routine. That's on my New Year's resolutions list every single year to just refine it. It's something I enjoy. Like, I really love it. Last night I packed for New York and Canada, and like Morgan and Joe were looking at me like crazy, like, what are you doing? Start packing. And I'm like, this is the start of my packing process.
Yeah.
I create a list and I write it all down. But I do think I'm a flower in the sense that, like, I'm good with anything. I definitely think I can adjust if I'm the planner or if I'm not, when it comes to trips and things. Like, if someone's more type A, take the reins. So I feel like I kind of fall in the middle, but definitely closer to a planner.
Yeah. And I'd say I also fall in the middle, but I'm definitely closer to a flower.
Yeah.
I do love my routine. I love my list, but I also find myself living outside of my lists and routines more often than not, just because of how crazy my life is sometimes. And I'm like very, very much okay with that. But when there is lack of people who are the planner, like, I also am very capable and happy to like step up to that occasion. But sometimes I just have too much else occupying my mind, too much chaos in my life to be that driving force. And yeah,
I think you also are just like, oh, well, it's all gonna
work out. That's always my mindset. It's a stress-free way for me to live. It's a little stressful for others to live around me.
Yes. But I mean, I think Courtney and I are perfect examples of do you ever think about what if I was also like super go with the flow, or you were also
that we
like,
wouldn't
super
be here
type
today.
A?
We would
not be able to do this podcast
No,
together.
we wouldn't.
Literally. And that's what I love. I think the best duos out there, if you were to dissect them, I bet they also have these qualities.
Yeah, because you can't be the same person. You can't have the same strengths in a relationship and the same weaknesses, because you're not going to be able to complement one another. And I think both of our like relationships with Joe and Matt work so well because of that dynamic too.
Yes, 100%. So I don't know. Analyze the relationships around you. See which ones work better than others, and see if these like come into play.
Yeah. But let's wrap up.
Oh, to round us out, I think maybe just a couple areas that we want to identify and improve upon. Like, I know for me, so again, I'm a planner, but like, I need to plan more when I go to the gym. Like, I show up to the gym and I have no idea what I'm doing unless I'm doing a class. So that's like an area I'd like to work on. And then like the type A on top of my type A, I want to create like these static lists for when I'm packing for like an overnight, a weekend up to New Hampshire, like even just a day trip or like a vacation. That's like all of my lists are planned out so I don't have to start from scratch every time. I just think it could be more efficient. My dream is to have a go bag, like duplicates of all my skincare, chargers, an outfit for like sleeping, and like then maybe all I have to throw in is like 2 or 3 outfits, but like everything's good and
already
I can just
in
grab
there.
the bag and go.
That's
been on like my goals list for a long time, but the effort of like buying duplicates happen. But I don't want
travel sizes of things.
Yeah
Like the Summer Fridays travel thing, leave that in a to-go. Good stuff.
Good stuff. So those are like the areas I want to work on.
Yeah, as the person that's more of a flower, I couldn't really tell you what areas of my life I want to be more of a planner in. But I feel like going into every new year, I always want to be a little less chaotic and a little bit more intentional. Literally, my word for next year is intention and /intentional, whatever floats your boat. And me being a flower and saying that, like, what? But just wanting to like be able to maybe get more done, or just like have more thought behind some decisions I make, but also still having that level of spontaneity and like open-mindedness to flow through life.
Let it flow, baby.
Let it flow. But yeah, I don't really have specific areas. I mean, gym I feel like is always an opportunity. Like, that's a very easy thing you can apply a plan to, you know?
Yeah.
That I also like the idea of like just having a loose plan like for your weeks. Like, so for example, on Sundays, that's your grocery shopping day. And maybe if it's not your grocery shopping day, that's the day that you basically decide all the meals that you're going to cook that week. And one thing in particular to that I think is important and helps you be a little bit more go with the flow is if you maybe choose like 4 dinners to buy for, so that you have like one night, not a specific day or night that you're going to be doing something on or being spontaneous, but that like leaves room for you to go out to dinner with friends, or like, I feel like that's an easy way for you to be like, oh, I bought groceries for the week, I'm not going to go out or whatever. But if you like strategically plan to have availability in your schedule for things like that, that's like an easy one to like provide some sort of structure, but also being a little bit more loosey goosey with.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, Friday night, I'm not going to have any plans,
yeah.
but like, I'm not going to buy groceries. Like
Yes.
it's going to be my intentional, spontaneous day.
Yeah. I think that's a good example of like doing both.
Yeah.
But yeah, just maybe having some more structure around my time that I'm in Boston.
Which will be for a while. Everyone, keep your fingers crossed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so with that, I think we can wrap it up. So we wanted to talk about this because I think both of these qualities are you can do both. And I think finding the sweet spot between these two is like what's going to set you up for success in this new year. I think these can literally be applied to everything, and also just like your personality in general and like your sense of self.
Yeah.
So hopefully this was helpful. I know we usually just share a lot of examples about ourselves, but like that's all we have to speak to is from our own experience.
Yeah.
So
no, I had fun. I'm gonna start thinking about how I could become more of a planner in the new year, because my flow state didn't help me prepare for that last final piece. So
I'm dead. All right. Well, happy New Year, everyone. Hope it was kicking off to a good start.
Yep. And we'll be you'll be hearing much more of us in the year to come.
Talk to you next week.
Ellie, bye.